OPNsense 25.7.6 has been released today, and it is the 22nd of October 2025. So we're going to go over the release notes, see what's changed. The majority of the changes seem to be towards Suricata version 8 and Package Manager version 2, which prevents the issues with having to do multiple checks for system updates and stuff. So we'll go over the release notes, we'll dive into some of the plugin updates, and then we'll update a system and see if we get any issues. Now, I'd always recommend you hold off for a week if you're doing this with a critical system that you can't do without any downtime. The way OPNsense works is they do appreciate people testing, as I am here. But again, if it's critical, I don't recommend that you patch on the same day the patch was released. Give it a week and then do the update. But at least you'll be aware of the changes and what to expect when you come to do your update. So let's dive right in.
Sheridan Computers, IT, Communications, Support.
The usual round of additions and reliability fixes is being rounded off with Suricata version 8 and a new package manager, version 2, which has been almost 2 years in the making for OPNsense at least. Now it does state, please be aware that during the update check, the new package manager will be installed, but it will fail to report the update status like it always does. So you'll end up with an error that will require checking for updates again. This fix is in the update, so it's impossible to install without upgrading the package manager first. It should be a minor inconvenience during the process, but once the new package manager is installed, obviously that issue should be resolved. syslog-ng is also being updated and includes a fix that previously prevented 2.9.x from shipping since it would hang the boot during the daemonize process. Many thanks to the authors for quickly picking this up and shipping a fixed version. So here's the full patch notes. Safeguard config history delete and revert by requiring HTTP post method. Change at run interval to every minute. Use new file safe in 2 instances. Improve the HAVIP sync code. The interfaces, the fixed permission of packet capture file in strict security mode. Firewall changes. Refactor live log using a ring buffer. Add toggles to disable selected automatic rules. Enable safe delete for categories. Improve stats rendering on automation rules, and allow searching aliases in automation rules inspect mode by IP address. DNS mask, strict host name and domain validation plus improved IP set validations. Firmware, as mentioned, the package manager upgrade changes for package 2.x. Intrusion detection, remove obsolete ACBS pattern matcher algorithm. IPsec, allow underscores in PSK identifiers. OpenVPN, add support for pushing excluded routes via net gateway. Allow multiple domain settings for client connection. The unbound changes include use file safe for routes hint creation. Deprecate unmaintained add-away block list. For WireGuard, they've added debug option to instances. In the back end, add file safe helper for atomic file creation. MVC changes, add a regex field to properly validate Perl regular expression syntax. Again with MVC, support arrays in search clauses. RC stuff, make sure var lib php temp can be accessed by other users, and do not clear temp on a diskless install. For the user interface, assorted adjustments for dark theme and always show boot grid reset button. And then we have various plugins that have been updated. So ddnsclient, git-backup, feeds connector, OS squid, workaround CVE 2025.6.2.168. The zabbix-proxy has been updated to 1.15. And then for the base FreeBSD ports, OpenSSH has been upgraded to 10.2 patch 1. package has been upgraded to 2.3.1. Python has received an update to 3.11.14. As mentioned, Suricata is now on 8.0.1. And syslog-ng is now on 4.10.2. Let's dive into some of these plugin changes and see what it means for you, or for us. So first, dynamic DNS client. Add native backend support for Power DNS API. Simple enough. And then the git-backup plugins. They've added a force push option. Right, manual queue feeds. So that's the OpenSense manual for queue feeds. What are queue feeds? In today's world, keeping your network secure is super important. Next generation firewalls, NGFWs, are essential tools for protecting your network. They can filter DNS and web traffic using external dynamic lists of threat indicators, known as indicators of compromise. Right, so queue feeds provides dynamic, up-to-date lists of these IOCs designed specifically for use with next-generation firewalls. By integrating queue feeds into your OpenSense firewall, you can improve your network's protection against new and emerging threats. This means your firewall can automatically block harmful traffic and stay updated with the latest threat information. Okay. So the plugin supports two types of lists. IPs using firewall aliases and domains using an integration with unbound block lists. I'll leave the link to the documentation. So in order to use queue feeds, a free or paid subscription is required. And then we've got, please visit qfeeds.com/OpenSense for more information and to sign up for access. The differences between available service offerings and extensive documentation is available there as well. And then there's the installation and activation and setup instructions. I'm not going to dive into this right now. You feel free to do that yourself. If you do want me to cover queue feeds plugin, then please leave a comment below and I'll consider taking a look at it. Let's have a look at the website. Yeah, get off. OpenSense licenses. So, in order to further improve your security posture on OpenSense, you can choose from 3 different threat intelligence packages. These packages all contain their own features as described below. For the free package, you can register on our tip. If you want to further improve, you can activate a plus or premium package, which you can buy below and then activate in the Threat Intelligence portal. Let's see what we get. So QFeeds Community is our free offering available via our Threat Intelligence portal. Oh, that's what tip is. Data is 7 days delayed. Easy integration via the OpenSense plugin and then OSINT data. QFeeds Plus. Data is delayed by 4 hours. IOC lookup for extra context on detections and paid data, and that's at €99. Is that like monthly, yearly, one-off? And it says starting at, not €99. Premium includes everything in the Plus package and free package. Updates every 20 minutes. Including commercial DNS feeds. It's the best package available. I'm going to say that. Let me just choose an option. Less than 50 users, 1 year. Okay, so it's per year. And then it's got the comparison between the Community Edition, Plus, and Premium. Wow, that's a low quality image. That's not me, that's the actual image on the website. So, again, if you want me to have a look at that, please leave a comment below and I'll happily take a look. I'll probably cover it anyway at some stage. QFeeds connector, that's related to QFeeds, so we don't really need to check that. No, that's just the initial Git status. Right, zabbix-proxy, what are the changes here? Added VMware parameters. OpenSSH. Is there any vulnerability stuff here? Zoom this in a bit. SSH. Fix mishandling of terminal connections when control persist was active that rendered the session unusable. The SSH keygen fixed download of keys from PKCS11 tokens, and they fixed certificate authority signing operations when the certificate authority key is held in an SSH agent. So some updates to OpenSSH there. Again, we've got Suricata 8.0 released, and then let's dive into this. Right, this major release contains many groundbreaking new features in all aspects of Suricata usage, including deployment, integrations, performance and detections. Read more. Okay, so we've got performance improvements. Suricata 8.0 brings significant performance enhancements across multiple areas of the engine, from detection to rule loading and initialization. The general detection engine performance was improved through, for example, branch prediction or hash function optimization. PCAP reading mode can now process files faster, thanks to larger read buffers and reduced thread synchronization overhead. Suricata initialization, so startup time has been significantly improved thanks to enhanced port grouping, NPM caching, and optimizations in the IP insertion algorithm. More protocol conversions to Rust, so they've converted these to Rust, libhtp, FTP, ENIP, and MIME parsing. And then protocols, ARP, DNS, LDAP, multicast DNS, POP3, SDP, SIP, and WebSocket support. As I'm going through this briefly, you can read this yourself. I'm not literally reading all this out. Detection capabilities have been extended both in new classes of detection as well as by exposing the new buffers and adding new keywords. Transactional rules express both directions in a transaction in a single rule. TX bits per transaction bit support through X bits with TX scope. Matching on the absence of buffers using the absent keyword, and then many individual keywords and buffers as part of the log detect parity effort. Again, LDAP, MIME, VLAN IDs, DNS, SMTP, FTP, and TLS. And they've added new keywords such as TCP.wscale, PGSQL.query, and MDNS. And then we've got JSON datasets, enrich alert using metadata in datasets, new transforms and keywords from base64, entropy, and LUAX form. Requires rules can check for keywords or features, and integer keywords accept hexadecimal notation, negated ranges, enumerations, and bitmask. And then Suricata as a firewall. Experimental. For intrusion prevention, Suricata now has a firewall feature. Suricata's new firewall mode brings firewall capabilities to Suricata. The firewall mode is considered experimental and may be subject to change during the 8.0 release cycle. At the most basic level, it's a more formalized dialect of the Suricata rule language with a deterministic packet pipeline. Like with other firewalls, it uses a default drop policy. The rule set is used to define what is allowed to pass, and then rule hooks have been introduced to offer more precise control over from where in a protocol state a rule will be evaluated. LUA support has been overhauled, so these are breaking changes. No ability to load third-party modules in LUA rules, no access to the OS LUA library for access to the system resources such as the file system, moving global LUA functions that Suricata features to LUA libraries. Examples can be seen in the documentation, and also, while not a breaking change, LUA rules are now enabled by default, whereas in Suricata 7, they needed to be enabled in the configuration file due to the issues resolved by the sandbox environment. Then we've got library and plugins, output improvements, TLS, log extensions, entropy, triggered by keyword, flows that trigger exception policies will log the triggered exception and applied policies, and improvements to stats logs, exception policies counters, more stats for mem use, memcap handling, IP pair, host, HTTP byte range, stats for written and BPF filtered out packets for PCAP log, stats for stream reassembly, drops and skipped rules, and then removal of unused counters, ability to disable zero-valued counters from Eve stats, more Eve schema descriptions, code quality, so it looks like they're, as I mentioned before, they're moving a lot of the stuff over to Rust. So over 2,000 files changed with 160,000 insertions, 112,000 deletions. Rust, 470 files changed. C, 1,294 changed. 158 files changed for documentation, and then CI QA optimization. So upgrade notes. The minimum supported Rust version has been updated to 1.75.0 from 1.63. Minimum in Suricata 7.0. Suricata no longer depends on the libhtpc library. It's now provided as a Rust crate. And then please review all the upgrade notes from 7.0 to 8. So don't blindly upgrade from 7 to 8. There's going to be some breaking changes and you're going to want to read the Suricata documentation. Is there anything else or is that it? Syslog-ng. Bug fixes. Queued stat values of destinations could still contain weird values. Unclosed standard file handlers could cause a hang when syslog-ng was started as a daemon. The webhook Python module could hang syslog-ng. So bug fixes to prevent hang. Right, so let's take a look at doing an upgrade, I guess. Okay, so I am logged into an OpenSense box. And this is actually a live one, and this update is from today, so I generally wouldn't recommend doing this in critical type of environments. Wait a week maybe before doing the upgrade. Anyway, let's go ahead and see what happens. So this is going from 25.7.5 to 25.7.6. The release type OpenSense is not available on this repository. Try that again. Okay. So that was the issue that we noted with the package manager being upgraded to version 2, where you had to do a second update check, and that should be resolved with this update. So that's basically the release notes that we've just read through. Let's scroll down to the bottom and hit update. In fact, before we do that, I should probably take a snapshot just in case this breaks, because it is only today. So let me go into system snapshots. I'll create a new one, 25.7.5. You should do this anyway and get into the habit of doing it. I'm not really bothered if this breaks. Anyway, let's go back into firmware updates and do that again. And now we'll go ahead and do the update. So if it breaks, we can roll back. So you can see there's a couple of other things, such as Tailscale that's been updated, OpenVPN, Ruby, DNS mask, NTP, Kia. So I didn't see them changes mentioned. And you see Suricata there, and then the OpenSense 25.7.6. The QEMU guest agent has been updated. StrongSwan has also been updated, and they've updated sudo. What was that about WireGuard? Right, so I'm done. Now I do use WireGuard, so let me check what that was. Right, so we've installed the packages, created the group, double checking what this thing has done. It's recommended to enable the WPAD related options at the end of the configuration file. Note that OpenVPN now configures a separate user and group. It's advisable to review your existing configuration files. What else we got here? I saw something on WireGuard. I can't see it now. Anyway, let's continue. Just double check again. It hasn't actually prompted me to reboot, so it doesn't look like a reboot is required, but yeah, we will do anyway, just to be on the safe side and see if it comes back online. Let's see if this actually works. Has it restarted yet? Yeah, it does. That was pretty quick. Right, okay, so we are on OpenSense 25.7.6, which is based on FreeBSD 14.3 release patch level 4. And let me just check WireGuard status. Okay, so that upgrade went fine. Now, as I mentioned, this came out today, which is the 22nd of October. If you're running a critical system, I don't recommend that you do the update straight away. If it's production, as I mentioned at the beginning of the video, give it a week, look on the announcements and the forums and see if anybody has been having any issues. If you don't see anything, then go ahead and upgrade. And I'll always post as well if there's any issues that I experience. If you find these OpenSense videos useful, then please hit the like button, give us a thumbs up, help other people find the videos, and consider subscribing to the channel. If you want me to dive into Q feeds, I did mention leave a comment below and I'll happily look at them. If you'd like to hire us for any OpenSense consulting or PFSense or any IT consulting, head across to our website at sheridancomputers.com. Thank you if you're still with me at this point. I'll see you in the next video.